Hello, So-La-Rah here. I hope you guys are doing well today. I am here to do a reading. I probably will not be doing downloads right now. I've got a lot of stuff that's been streaming in, so I want to do a reading and try to make sense of some of the messages that Spirit has for the collective. So I'm here. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Thank you if you've been here from the beginning or you've come somewhere along the way. Thank you for all the ways that you sow into me. Thank you for your likes, your shares, your comments, your subscribes. Those of you who I've worked with one-to-one, thank you for your donations. I really do appreciate all of you guys, all of your kind gestures and the ways that you sow into my own personal growth and value and light. And welcome if you are visiting for the first time. If the title spoke to you and you're here, there is likely one message or something in here that Spirit wants to share with you. So I invite you to chill out and to stay and to see what it is. And if you are chilling and you're flowing with me and you're liking my vibe and my energy, I invite you to do the YouTube thing, to like, to share, to subscribe, to hit on the notification bell to know when I post and all of that other beautiful stuff. So I'm going to go into the cards, but what I've been feeling right now, like today, there's just been a surge of energy. There's definitely been some really monumental shifts that have occurred over the weekend for as long as we've been flowing with the energy, right? And it really does feel like there's a grand time of remembrance that is opening up. That's what my guides have been speaking to me about today. In a myriad of ways, a grand time of remembrance. And when I began to explore that energy a bit with them, what they were showing me is that right now it's like a lot of us are receiving back, we're receiving back activations in our energy fields that are helping us to connect with the truth of who we are. But these are like deeply embedded codes that, you know, they've been in your energy system every lifetime, but this is the lifetime where they actually are able to be activated on the earth. So it's kind of a big deal. There's a lot of, and I'll get into this when I do like the downloads that I have, but there's a lot of limbic system recalibration back into divine order right now. And your limbic system is the part of your brain that is really connected to how you store or how you access memories through emotions, through smell. It's really about how you process the information that you take through your gates, through your eye gate, through your ear gate, through your nose gate, through your mouth gate. The limbic system is very much the part of your brain and your nervous system that is about the processing of your emotional and sensory experience. I guess would be a very overly simplified way of dealing with it. And as you guys know, if you've been rolling with me, then you know that Cancer season, the downloads I was really receiving, it was all about us relearning our attachment styles, and in doing so, ridding ourselves of all of the ways that the habits we have, the energies that we've entertained in ourselves and in others that have dysregulated our nervous systems. And so it seems very interesting to me that now it's kind of like a limbic system recalibration. And I have a science background. I don't know if you know this about me. I have a science background because I went to university to do a degree in Western medical herbalism. And as such, we had to do, you know, like almost like a conventional medical degree plus herbs. So I love the overlap of science and spirituality, because in my opinion, science just shows what we've already been intuiting in more concrete ways. So I really find it very interesting when when spirit starts to speak to me about these physical and physiological things that are occurring for us that have to do with the activations that we're receiving because of the astrology, because of the movement of the planets, because of the solar flare activity, because of the way that the collective consciousness is expanding, because of our own healing, and how we're reaching higher frequencies because of all of this, and how it's affecting us on a physiological level, because it really does cement and remind me of how everything is just so interconnected. There's everything. Everything is a cause and effect. There's nothing that is. Everything is one. Is really what it comes down to. So, the geek in me, I geek out on this kind of stuff. So, the limbic system is being recalibrated right now. And the message I was getting is that it's a grand time of remembrance. And when I was like meditating and walking earlier on, and I was thinking about doing this reading, what started to come up was it was more of a reminder, because I've been meaning to come on here and talk about this for a minute, and I didn't get around to doing it, but I kind of gently began to delve into this idea of timelines and how we create our own realities by timeline surfing. I did a reading about that a few weeks ago, but what my guides were actually wanting me to touch on tonight, and maybe it will come out in the cards, especially as we go through this grand time of remembrance and these activations begin to flow through us, and we begin to remember who we are, and also remember certain things about certain beings and situations from across timelines. My guides want me to speak about synchronicities and timeline jumping. Okay? So one thing that I want you to know, because a spiritual community can really fuck you every side of Wednesday, with the way that they make us chase synchronicities. It's 11:11 on my clock as I say that. No joke. I don't know, like if I show it to you, it's gonna be a glare. You can't see, but yeah, it flashed. 23:11. Okay, 11:11. The synchronicities that we see are the things that we are creating. So a lot of the time in spirituality, we are made to believe that we are being led somewhere. But we're actually not really being led somewhere. We are always kind of in the driver's seat as creators. And when we give that power away and we believe that we're always being led somewhere by some external energy, that's where we disappoint ourselves. And this is not to say that we are not guided. We're not guided by our guides, right? Or we're not, spirit doesn't go before us and help us to get to places. But one really important thing as we break out of the matrix, the only way to break out of the matrix is to take responsibility for who you are as a creator, and therefore what your energy creates. So I want to say this to you because, for example, if you are with somebody, if you are with someone romantically, platonically, familially, work-wise, it doesn't really matter. If you're with a being and you start to, make plans with that person, and you start to talk about those plans, right? And then those plans you start to see signs and symbols that those plans are coming to pass. It's not always the universe being like, oh, we're co-signing. It is, but it isn't. What we need to recognize and realize is that when those synchronicities start to come in, it's showing us that the energy that we set in motion by our conscious intent is moving. That's really what it is, okay? And then at any point, you have the ability to also collapse timelines and to collapse certain energies. And I say this is so important because when we don't know this about ourselves, we can get lost on a wild goose chase, chasing signs and synchronicities and thinking they're taking us somewhere only to end up disappointed. Okay, and a really excellent example of this, and the reason why I really want you to understand and overstand this tonight, is the twin flame. And I hate that word. I hate it. I'm not even going to lie. I hate that phrase because as far as I'm concerned, it's been totally hijacked and it probably was made up to begin with. I prefer divine partners, okay? But because it's, you know, the terminology that everyone tends to know and identify with, I will use it, right? So with the twin flame phenomenon, the reason I want you to know this is because oftentimes when you start to sense like this feeling of recognition, soul recognition with another being that you then identify as being your twin flame, what is beginning to come into fruition when you see those synchronicities are oftentimes your desires, their desires, a mix of those energies. If you actually are in conversation and you're talking and you're creating things together consciously and unconsciously, it's the energy. The energy is pretty much just showing you back what it is that's going on within your own energy fields or combined energy fields. It's almost like it's how you can also know that when you start to think about someone, or you start to see their name everywhere, or you feel their energy, then you know that it's that they're in your energy too. Because that's kind of how energy works. The Two of Pentacles is the best way to kind of think about it. And energy begins to come into motion in physical through, you know, the infinity symbol. But when you're dealing with like two beings who are in one another's energy fields, if you're thinking about a person, the likelihood of them thinking about you is high, especially if all of a sudden they come into your mind and you're not consciously thinking about them. But you should also know that your thinking about them consciously can make them all of a sudden start thinking about you. That's how interconnected we are. So I say all of that because you have a choice as a creator what timelines you want to jump into and what you want to create in your own reality. And if you have begun to build something energetically with another being, and then that being is a jerk, or you're a jerk, or no one's a jerk, you just decide to go your own way, you know, however it is that you decide to dissolve the situation or even put the situation off, you should know that whatever energies you already began to culminate together by speaking about things, by planning things, by opening up to one another and allowing emotions to flow back and forth, even just feeling strongly, that it's going to take a moment for those timelines, for those synchronicities that kept flowing towards you, it's going to take a moment for them to collapse altogether. And they might not collapse if you don't make a conscious decision to do it. In other words, we spend a lot of time chasing this twin flame idea because we keep on seeing synchronicities, so maybe they're coming back and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, we're creating those synchronicities because we're keeping the possibility of those timelines open because we don't want to let them go, collapse the timelines and move to the next situation or move to a higher situation with them. Because sometimes it's not like you're walking away from a person, but the timelines that you've created within the context of the energy that you're vibrating on, you're not going to move forward in it because it's not for you at a certain juncture. So either you're going to meet at a higher level, at a higher vibration, or it's going to come to a close. But I say all of this because synchronicities are not things that we are here to chase. We are creating them through how we use our energy to create our reality. Okay? I hope that makes sense. So the universe is reflecting back to us constantly what is going on within ourselves, what is going on with other beings. The external reality is a reflection of the internal. It's not the other way around. Okay, so I say that because as you move into this grand time of remembrance, and even just what we're going through right now, timelines are still collapsing rapidly. New timelines are coming online. You have the option and the opportunity to jump into higher timelines, to create new timelines, and with all of that, you know, be mindful that you are in the seat. You are the creator of your reality. And this is a really important energy to consider because we are moving, this is the year of the chariot. And the chariot energy is about reclaiming your light body, reclaiming your God skills, your interdimensional abilities, reclaiming the ability to be in the driver's seat over that, because the matrix gets us in contracts where we're constantly selling ourselves out and we don't know that we're losing our light and therefore our ability to sit in the driver's seat of our own chariot, because our chariot is run off of our light. Okay, so Cancer season was all about like reprogramming our emotional waters so that we can become more conscious creators. And Leo season is also about the recalibration of our emotional fields, because the Leo energy is connected to the heart, and your heart, of course, is your stargate, and your stargate is kind of like the ignition, the keys to your chariot. Okay, so all of this is important because it's time for us to learn once again how to truly be creators and to stop dilly-dallying about in the matrix manifestation templates, which again, like I've said in previous readings, manifestation, there's nothing wrong with it, right? But it's not quite the same as being a creator. And the matrix has, as it does with everything, it has exploited that energy in order to keep us out of balance. And we must bring all things back into balance. And we do that by remembering who we are and how we operate energetically and how we utilize our creator energies responsibly for ourselves, for one another, and for the earth. Okay? So before I get into the cards, there is one more thing I want to say, and that is that and I mentioned this, I think, in the last reading or the reading before, there have been a lot of attacks. No, it was the last reading. There have been a lot of attacks against the third eye and the crown. Okay? But I want to remind you always that every way that they try to attack is an indication of what is occurring divinely. Nobody attacks anything that's not a threat, right? So the reason why they would go for your third eye and your crown is because it is a time where you are able to receive these rapid upgrades and activations that help you to see again who you are and connect in higher ways with your true I am truth, with your divine identity, which is by way of your crown and your third eye. So understand and overstand that the attacks are activations, and also know that part of the cloudiness that you might even be experiencing from time to time, not to negate the attacks, but part of the experience you might be going through is also the integration, because you see, the activations will occur in your fields before you access them consciously. In other words, some of you, those activations have already occurred even if you haven't fully tuned into them yet, because it takes a minute for them to go through your mental and emotional body until your emotional body allows you to consciously make like contact with those energies. I hope that makes sense. So with that said, let's get into this. I don't know why they're telling me to go straight into the Moonology Oracle, but I'm going to listen. Believe in the impossible. Believe in the impossible. Blue moon. And I believe we have a blue moon coming up on the 23 on my clock. On the 31st of August, we have that full moon in Pisces happening. And because we had a full moon occur on August the 1st, and we have a full moon happening at the end of the month, within the same month, we have 2 full moons. So technically, that is a blue moon. So we have a blue moon happening. And I think the last time we had a proper blue moon, if I remember it correctly, it was 2020, and it was the full moon in Taurus that occurred on, was it Taurus? It happened in October. Yeah, it was the full moon in Taurus. It happened on, Scorpio season. It happened on Halloween. So that might be significant for some of you. You might be wrapping up a grand 3-year cycle from that time. You might want to think back to what was going on for you back then. It might be a time of, you might, for some of you, if that is resonating, that time period, that blue moon, you might have begun to wake up to certain information that is coming around full circle now. Okay, so like I said, this is a grand time of remembrance. It could have been around that blue moon in October of 2020 that your guides were beginning to wake you up about certain beings, about certain situations, about certain things about yourself divinely, and now there's some kind of grand wrapping up or closing up of that cycle. You do have at the bottom, you and your loved ones are safe. New moon in Cancer. So this is, again, the energy of feeling very uncertain and unstable right now. You could be feeling very, very imbalanced emotionally with this Cancer energy. Your family situation might be a little bit precarious. You might have issues with, like home, whether it's literally like where you live per se, or even, finding peace within your own energy field, which is ultimately supposed to be your home. This is also family situations that might be being resolved. Contracts that have put you and your loved ones at some kind of risk or made you unstable in some kind of way. Some of you have been waiting on something to change magnanimously, to shift, like miracle kind of energy. This is like divine mother protection. Like, I've got you. I've got you in the darkness of my protection of my womb. And it may feel chaotic in there because you don't see what is happening, but trust that I am in active creation mode. I'm helping to wake that up in you, because really you are the creator, right? But it's like you're getting assistance. It's almost like as I was out and about and I was meditating on this reading also, I was getting certain words, and one phrase that was coming through was fast track. Fast track. For some of you, you have been, and maybe it's been in this 3-year cycle especially, that it began to become very obvious where you had been being thwarted. There have been a lot of blocks, delays, redirecting of your energy, pulling you down into lower timelines, casting spells to make you invisible so you can't catch onto your opportunities. All manner of fuckery has been done, as you are aware, and this may have slowed you down magnanimously, but it's almost like, and I've been seeing this on and off for some people, like over the past, I want to say 3 weeks or so. You know how, like, when you get off the plane and there are certain beings that are VIPs, or even, let's not even talk about a plane. You know, like when you are in the line for the, well, this was many lifetimes ago for many of you, including myself. But when you were once upon a time, a young whippersnapper and you used to go clubbing or whatever, and you'd be in line And but if you had VIP access, they'd come and they'd grab you, or if somebody else had VIP access, they'd come and they'd grab them and just take them all the way past the line and into the club and past security and all the other shit that you normally have to go through because of VIP, or because maybe you know the owner, or you know one of the party promoters. I'm showing my Manhattan. I lived in my 20s in Manhattan energy, but they would take you directly into the club. It's kind of like that, and but it's almost like it's like you've been waiting in line as a VIP all this time and waiting for them to recognize you. And maybe you even went to security and was like, look, I know so-and-so, let me in. And you had to wait for so-and-so to actually come out and be like, yeah, they're with me, let them in, what are you doing? Kind of thing. So it's almost like you're about to be, you're finally recognized because you've broken these energies and you're about to be fast-tracked. And oftentimes, for those of you who are feeling like you're on the brink of something, like but not in a good way, like with this Cancerian energy, like the anxiety or the panic or the emotional unrest, oftentimes if you allow yourself to flow with that energy, you're going to see more and more on your journey that those are that agitation in your soul is often the moment that breakthrough wants to come, for as long as you don't succumb to fearful thinking and to doubt. Okay? There's no birthing a new reality, including new timelines, without the friction and the chaos that is necessary in the energy for something to shift and change. So when you learn that about energy in yourself, you start to be able to consciously connect with the timeline jump instead of falling into the emotions that would sink you from being able to jump onto the timeline, which requires you to be in a higher vibration and a higher state of being by way of how you're thinking and feeling. I hope that makes sense. Ooh, that one flew. Look at this. This is more Cancerian energy. Full moon in Cancer. A personal issue reaches resolution. So I wasn't even paying attention. This is the new moon in Cancer, and we're coming up to the new moon in Leo. It's been a full moon cycle since that new moon, which was hella crazy with all of the sex magic and the separation between them, the attempts to separate mind from heart, because of course that's what was coming into union within our energy fields. It was a time for our minds and our mental, our mental and our emotional bodies to begin to merge, so that we have one layer of union coming forth. There are many layers of inner union that must occur, but that was one. And when I say many layers of inner union, it's like there are different phases of the mental and the emotional bodies coming together. It's different levels, just like healing is different levels. So are union energies. And so the energy around the new moon in Cancer was all about disrupting that within ourselves, but also disrupting union energies externally. Because if you can get us within, you can get the energies to play out without. That's the point. Okay. So for some of you, there may have been situations or issues at that time that either fell apart or caused you some distress. There's something here about resolution coming. And then at the bottom of the deck, we do have the full moon in Leo. And don't let pride get in your way. And we have the new moon in Leo happening in a little over 24 hours. So for me, I'm going to kind of see this as being in the challenge position. So for some of you, there is a fear that you've reached the saturation point in a certain energy, in a certain cycle. It may have to do with family, okay? Especially with these two Cancer cards coming up. For some of you, it has to do with a mother or a mother figure, okay? Or mother wounds even. this is feeling very much like there is a very major cycle, whether it's happening within or without. And of course, again, before it happens without, it must happen within. There's a very major cycle that is coming to a close. But it feels like this cycle, you felt this way in the past and it hasn't come to pass. And it feels like the reason it didn't come to pass was because you fell into fear. So the Leo energy, the shadow side of Leo energy is kind of like the lion from the Wizard of Oz, you know, who didn't have any courage, who wasn't brave, who cowered in fear at everything. And it's due to self-doubt. So the balanced energy of Leo is very confident, and it's a confidence that stems from the heart and the truth of who they are, and a balanced solar plexus. The shadow energies of Leo on one side can be very arrogant, where it likes to pretend to be very, like, put on a show and pretend to be okay or better than other beings, to hide the fact that there's a lot of self-doubt. Or the lower end of the same energy, the shadow energy, is the cowering, very like childlike. And it's all the same. It's still self-doubt. It's just expressing itself in a different way. For some beings, when they start to doubt themselves, they like to pretend and also belittle others, right? And then for some beings, they just like want to hide away. I feel like a cycle like this, you've had an opportunity for a cycle like this to end in the past. It could have even been the recent past, but you allowed fear and self-doubt when things got really difficult to pull you back in. And we do that. I've done that so many times on this journey, because before you begin to trust yourself and the divine, things can seem impossible. Situations can seem impossible. And although you've been told to maybe hold on and to have faith, and that the universe has your back, and you actually have created for yourself a solution, your soul has created a solution, you might fall back into some kind of dependency or codependency in order to resolve it in what appears to be a practical or a logical way, based upon what your eyes are seeing and what you think is available to you materially. So this is going back to that energy of what I was speaking about before, in like the past few readings, ever since I've been talking about us being in active labor, like how technically, if reality is 100%, the parts that we see is only like the physical aspects of what we're experiencing, the things that we can touch, feel, taste, see, that the Matrix likes to make us believe is the be-all and end-all of everything, is only really 7% of the real truth, the 7% of the reality. There's 93% of energies that are working together behind the scenes to create the 7%. So before the 7% comes into view, into vision, before you can grasp these energies, there are 93% of these particles that are coming together to assist that. But because you don't see all that's going on behind the scenes, you just focus on the 7%. And it's almost like what I have been speaking about with that, that moment of time between having, like, giving birth and having the baby in utero or still in you, versus the moment the baby crosses the threshold into material reality and you can hold it and it becomes something real in your material truth, right? It's like this is the energy here, and some of you are wanting to give up because of the 7% that you're seeing that doesn't line up with, that doesn't yet line up with all of the 93% that you are sensing that wants to be pushed into your material truth. But the only way it can be pushed into your material truth is by you believing. It's through your faith, and it's through you aligning with your ability to bring it forth. And even with this Cancerian energy, this is birthing energy too. You know, that's Divine Mother energy. This is 4th and 5th house. So this is very much to do with childhood conditioning and programming. Family beliefs, family pressures, possibly familial pressures for some of you too. This is all to do with like, what's the word? Why can't I think of the word? Formative, your formative years. The years where childhood is ultimately what forms your beliefs and the way that you view the world, and the things that, the way that you feel. It's limbic system again, is really what it is. And beyond letting go of a cycle right now, you have to let go of a mindset and an emotional setting that has enabled this to continue in your life all this time. Adjustments are required is at the bottom. So we're going to get into some guidance, solutions. That's too many cards. I'm not taking all those cards. Well, expect powerful change and show the world the real you wanted to come at. And the new moon in Leo was there too. So what you have actually coming out in guidance is a time for healing. And what do you need to let go of? A time for healing. So right now, in order to get to birth, this thing that you feel is impossible, energetically speaking, in order to birth it, in order to change your reality, in order for the 7% that you're experiencing right now that's causing you anxiety and making you feel unstable and disturbing your peace, in order to take that 7% of your reality and to shift it out and bring in through the 93% a new reality, 7% reality that matches what it is that you want or what it is you've been shown is coming. You need to heal those parts of yourself that are still resonating in doubt, resonating in this energy of like desire. Let me get out the trusty vibrational scale. And let me find my selenite wand. So, vibrational scale time. You need to break out of this energy. It's like you're here in desire. And when you're in desire, if you're coming to desire from here, right, from shame, and you climb here, that's a wonderful place. But if you have come from up here, where you were in love, joy, acceptance, and all of that, and you're back in this place of desire, then that's a form of regression. And that's what it feels like has happened for some of you. And the thing about the desire is that when we stay in a state of desire, it's almost like when we stay in a state of desire, when we've been in higher vibrating energies, it's like we descend there because we believe that what it is we want can only ever be something that we chase. So there's a big difference of coming down from, a place of love and joy and peace and balance and falling into that desire, because it's almost like, oh, I can't sustain this, or oh, I can't have this, or oh, I can't have what it takes to stay in this higher resonance. Whereas if you're coming up from shame, a lot of the time with shame, there's nothing that you want for yourself, or you just don't think you're worthy of anything. So to begin to want better for yourself, to desire better, is a step up. You see how there's no such thing as a bad energy. It's just in the context of how it's working for us and how we're utilizing it to move higher. 23:44 on my clock. So you need to let go of this belief. And some of you, it's also, I'm getting a little bit of Virgo energy here. I know it's not out on the board, but because I joke with my daughter about this, and because I have very prominent Virgo energy too, but that Virgo energy can catastrophize a lot, right? It can catastrophize. It can find, because of Virgo's beautiful ability to find detail, to look at detail, to pick detail apart. That mercurial aspect of the Virgo energy is really great at that. What it can do is it can find fault or issue where there isn't, or find things to worry about that don't need to be worried about. So that's what I'm sensing here, a little bit of catastrophizing. But what is actually at the bottom of the deck is a fiery climax approaches. So this is full moon in Aries energy. This is like, move, bitch, get out the way energy. You get what I'm saying? Like whatever it is I've been waiting for is about to come forth, full force. Like, you don't mess around with a raging ram. You get out of the way. You let that ram do what it's going to do, right? But in all seriousness, like, this a fiery climax approaches. This is kind of like tower energy. Aries is, of course, Mars. But it's the energy that helps us to rise up into our masculine energy and to take action. But it's also that energy that allows us to rise up and destroy. And to destroy just like this. It's that tower energy. So the more feminine destructive force in the planets is Pluto. The masculine destructive force is Mars. Mars comes in, fucks shit up, and keeps it moving. Pluto likes to take its time, and Pluto also likes to also be on the reconstruction team that helps to rebuild what it destroyed, because it's destroying with a very clear purpose. It's kind of how I like to see it. But Mars comes in, fucks shit up, and then keeps it moving. Mars is like that cousin that will walk into a family function and there's a huge ass fucking elephant in the room, and instead of walking past the elephant and pretending it's not there, it will be like, yo, announcement, stand on the coffee table, look at the fucking elephant in the room. And then when everyone has no choice but to do that, and there's some drama that has been raised up because nobody can be in avoidance anymore, then that cousin disappears. They don't sit down and wait for everything that ensues in the drama. They come in, they point out the obvious, they bring the energy that needs to incite the drama that is necessary for the recognition of the elephant in the room, and then they bounce, right? That's kind of like the Mars energy. But I say all of that because I was saying before that when you are about to break through into the other side of something, when you're about to reach a higher reality or climb to a higher timeline, then oftentimes that's when energies will begin to feel very tight. That's when things will begin to feel you'll feel a lot of tension. And the tension is necessary to initiate the change that must come in the energy to take you where you want to go. And so this is, there's something here about releasing fear around why you're feeling this way. Like, it feels very much like there's someone here who you're feeling like, because things are getting tight, like what it is that you want, like this is proof that what it is that you want is not coming through, when it's actually the opposite. For as long as you flow with that energy and you don't fall into doubt and you allow it to take you higher, which is its purpose, you will grab onto the higher timeline. But don't shrink back. Okay, that Aries energy doesn't shrink back. The Aries energy is connected to the crown. It's connected, and when I say the crown, it's not only like the crown is in your chakra, it's like the crown is in who the divine says you are. It's your I am truth, and nobody can argue with that. They can try, but it won't change anything, because you are who you are, and the whole point of healing is to reconnect with that. And that Aries energy can be very, very stubborn, and it can be a little bit it can be self-absorbed, but that's not really the word I'm looking for. It's very concerned with self. Aries, Leo is also like that. It's very concerned with self. And this is where you need to be right now. This is like Aries doesn't give a, like, a lot of the time, an Aries person, they don't give a fuck what you think about them past a certain degree. They just don't give any fucks. And this is kind of where someone's giving too many fucks. You're giving too many fucks. You need to let go of some of the fucks that you're giving, and you need to tune into the fact that this boiling point is there exactly for something to explode, to push you forward. I want to remind you also that this year is the year of the Tower and the Chariot. In other words, you cannot move forward in the fullness of your light. You cannot drive your chariot forward if the towers don't come down to remove the blocks that were keeping you from moving forward to begin with. And this is what it feels like. This feels like somebody either trying to avoid a tower, control a tower, or is afraid that the tower means that they're never going to get out of something when it couldn't be farther than the truth. But your getting out of it is all going to be down to your own ability to it's your ninth house energy, it's your Jupiter, your Sagittarius energy, your ability to grab a hold of who you actually are before you begin to see it materially. Okay? Where do you want me to go after that long soliloquy? We're going to go into the Do You Believe in Magic deck. This was a deck that one of you beautiful souls donated to the channel. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Whoa, it's a lot of cards. How many are here? Okay, we'll take them. Okay, at the bottom of the deck, we have Lioness. I love this. You've earned your stripes. See how she's just chilling? Just chilling. You know, the Lioness energy is Leo. You could think about it as being Leo energy. Number 13, of course, is the death. So she's been reborn. She's been reborn on the other side of the pain, on the other side of the tension. You know, like when I was, when I have two kids, and when I gave birth to my first one, and my water broke, and I actually ended up walking to the hospital because I literally lived like 5 minutes away. So we walked to the hospital. And nobody tells you, and like you never know that when your water breaks, it just continues, the water continues to come until baby arrives. Nobody tells you that shit. But I remember when my water broke, even as pregnant as I'd been up until that point, shit began to get really real. You know, like this baby's coming, there's no holding back anymore. You know, and I also remember being in active labor with my daughter, and I don't think I really want to get into that. I want to share that. let's just put it this way. When baby starts to come, starts to crown, you start to push and all of that, you can't just chill out and be like, oh, I want to take a break and not do this anymore. Or, oh, you know, let's come back and do this tomorrow. There's no controlling it. And it's your own body, but there's still no controlling it. You have to go with the flow. And the more you fight against it, the more you actually hurt yourself and put baby at risk too. You know, and so this is almost like someone who is in active labor energetically and wanting to like push baby back in. And it's just like, that's going to be more painful than just pushing on the contraction. Okay, thorns. Weave together the crown you deserve. So someone here is very focused on the hurt right now and the pain of what is happening. And the pain has been your passport to this. And this is not me trying to minimize any of the trauma or any of the shit that other beings have put you through that would have you focusing on the pain right now. 2355 as I say that. But it is to say that what you focus on is what you're going to grow. And it's time for you no longer to live in these states of pain. So it's time for you to take the lessons and to alchemize it and to recognize and realize your beauty and your power and your strength and all it is that you've actually accrued because of who you are, because of your power, because of how you've handled yourself. It's time to start looking at how amazing you are and stop giving your power away to the situations or the beings that caused the pain or the disruption. They're not worth it anymore. That it's not worth it to pour energy into that, because that ultimately is what you will be creating more of. Stars. You can manifest your every wish, is what it says. Okay? Number 5. 14 is a 5. So we got 5-5 on the board. This is in like, because when I do a 3-card pull, or when 3 cards come out, oftentimes it will be like the overarching theme, the challenge, and the best way to navigate this energy. So this is in the challenge position. You are having issues. Again, believe this is just confirmation of what was already being shown. You are having issues believing in your own power and your ability to move into this a new cycle, end this cycle, or to grab a hold of what it is you feel that you've been shown is coming. You're having a problem believing and having faith and having hope, and even receiving. Being in an energy of receiving and also knowing your own worth and value and your deservedness here. With this, you've earned all your stripes. For some of you, the reason you're feeling this way, it's very interesting, she is pregnant in this, is because of energies you have around you. Do you see how in this, because this card says this is your guidance, this is the best way for you to navigate. It says shark, swim away from this situation. Okay, so this is showing me a few things. For one thing, she's pregnant. She's a pregnant mermaid. I've never noticed that until just now. And we're talking about birth, right? There is someone that is like looming in on your birthing process and kind of wanting to snatch your baby, energetically speaking. And when I say that, it doesn't even have to be a literal person in your energy. It could literally be the way that you think and feel about yourself that isn't actually in alignment with your truth, but it's someone else's words. So for example, there was a lot of Cancer energy and Leo energy coming out, and I did mention something about mother wounds. For some of you, you still need to relinquish that voice within that you thought your whole life it is your own, but it was a critical, judgmental mother, father, family, whoever it is, whose voice was the main voice of authority in your life that you took on as it being your own. And that person was raising you from deep states of unhealed woundedness. You need to let that go, because this energy has stolen from you time and time again, and it's standing here waiting to steal from you again, but it can't take from you without you allowing it to. Okay? This is also the energy with the shark of something materially appearing to be the logical exit out of your situation that really just wants to feast on you under the appearance of helping you. The shark energy is kind of, it can be very opportunistic. It wants to take advantage of you in your weakness and your vulnerability. You see how he's closing in on her? He doesn't seem threatening though, right? He wants to take advantage of her in her place of vulnerability and weakness. But you're not vulnerable and you're not weak. You're anything but that. And you need to rise out of these energies that would have you feel that way. 0, 0, 0, 0. It's time for you to reset yourself into your divine settings, into your divine truth. You are strong, you are capable, you are confident. There's no situation that you find yourself in that there isn't a divine solution for, and the divine solution is within you. You are cultivating, you are bringing it to pass as you believe. And as you remove these characters and energies out of your fields that want you to feel like you're weak or you're vulnerable or that you need to depend on something outside of yourself. 35 is an 8. Okay, so this speaks about energy and karmic loops. The 8 can speak, it speaks about energy. So it can speak about breaking out of a karmic loop. It can speak about bringing an energy into balance and stasis. It talks about an energy system and how an energy flows. I think we talked about this at the beginning too. You know, there's also somewhere here, there's fake union energies around here too, with the 3 and the 5. Okay, be very careful as you are birthing this new reality, who you are allowing around you. Okay, and that's not to make anyone paranoid, you know, because that's another thing that as beings we have to find the balance in. We have to learn to trust individuals again, and we have to realize that not everyone has horrible intentions towards us. You know, that's another thing that we have to learn. But with this energy right here, and the best way to navigate, and I'm getting the fake, closing in on you, union energies, fake union energies, because the 3 is the Empress and the 5 is the Hierophant. And given, and then the 8 again is to do with, the karmic loop or the energy cycle. And given that this is a shark energy, there's something here that's predatory, okay? And it doesn't have to be a union with another person romantically. It can be platonic. It can be family. It can be offers at work. This is like dangling carrot energy almost. And for some of you, because what brought me into this reading to begin with was speaking about this grand time of remembrance and knowing who you are as creators and understanding and overstanding synchronicities and timelines. This is almost like this energy of being manipulated or coerced or influenced into believing that you're supposed to be with a person because you keep on seeing synchronicities or whatever that might be. And the reality is you're creating that. That person could be creating that. They could even be casting that shit into your fields. You get what I'm saying? So what you need to always trust is how those synchronicities make you feel. Are you talking yourself out of a situation because of what you're seeing or experiencing externally? It's a very important thing to consider. And not enough of us do that. We see the synchronicity and we think, oh, it's divine. But guess what? I've known people who are living devilish existences who are getting angel numbers all the time too. Does that mean they're on divine track? I'll let you decide on that. I'll let you decide on that. Okay. Let's get you a card from Archangel Michael. Let's see who's also supporting you in this. And then let's close this up because we're already an hour in. Don't let anyone make you feel right now like, this is another thing, like your key to liberation is through them. It's one thing for someone to come in and offer you help. It's another thing for you to feel like they are your only option. That's never the case when you're walking in your divine truth. An option can come into your life and you could be like, it could be the only option that materially is available, but it doesn't feel right to your soul, and you can throw that back into the universe and you can get something better for as long as you believe. I know this as a fact. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Number 18, let it go. This situation no longer serves you. Allow me to sever your energetic connections to the past so you can embrace the future. So some of you need to do cord cutting. You need to cut the cords to a certain situation, a certain being. You need to collapse those timelines if that's not what you want anymore. And you need to stop running away with the synchronicities that come up because those timelines haven't been fully collapsed. Because it takes some time. So for example, if you break up with someone, especially this twin flame shit, if you break up with them, but you keep on seeing signs and synchronicities about them, etc., give that shit about a month. Give it 3 or 4 weeks of you actively casting down those timelines and collapsing and closing them and saying, I actually don't want this, if you don't want it. And watch the signs and synchronicities disappear and only appear again when you start thinking about them. And if you're starting to think about them, then it's a good chance it's because they're thinking about you. You always have a choice in this, in other words. You don't have to... I feel like I'm just repeating myself again. But you don't have to run around chasing signs and synchronicities and make decisions based upon seeing those things. They're there to affirm what it is that you're creating. They're not there to tell you, you must follow this path. Okay? The situation no longer... Okay. 38, yes, you are correct. You have listened to your inner guidance and made a wise choice. Keep moving forward. So for some of you, you have moved away from a situation or a person or an energy. You have, but you're doubting yourself because you keep on seeing signs and synchronicities. And this is why the message is coming through. Maybe you need to do some cord cutting, and maybe you need to search your own heart and decide, is this something that I want? Is it something that I do want, or is it something that I need to bury now and put to bed? Because if it's not what I want, then I need to be conscious and conscientious that I created a certain flow of energies to begin and to take off. I fed those energies, and so now I must starve those energies because I don't want those timelines. I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's see who's supporting you in this. So this is all about just learning how energy works and learning how you create your reality instead of being a victim of circumstance. That's really what this is, what a lot of us are learning right now. Because when we are when we play that game of being a victim of circumstance, we keep on seeing synchronicities. It is also how other beings are able to cast this shit into our reality and make us think it's real in order to get us in a timeline that they want to manifest on our behalves. And we're not doing that shit anymore. We're sovereign beings. We're creating our reality. We're trusting that we have the power to do that. And we're holding on to ourselves and our power before we trust anything or anyone outside of ourselves who are trying to in any way disempower or redirect our truth or make us feel like in any way our existence is dependent upon them. It's not true. And again, this is not to say that we don't need one another. We do, but we also need to break out of all of these patterns of codependency and all of this toxic energy that makes us feel like our reality is dependent upon another. That's what the whole twin flame thing was supposed to continue to perpetuate. That's why I hate the fucking word twin flame, because as far as I'm concerned, it was designed in order to, as a trap for divine beings. That's what I think about the twin flame scenario at this point. And again, that's not me saying that divine partners don't exist, but the whole twin flame thing, most people go through more trauma on the so-called twin flame journey than anything else, and I do believe it was designed to play on our desire for divine love, but to get us trapped in matrix and karmic cycles, and not properly healing ourselves and not properly tuning into our creator abilities because we're too busy believing that another being is the answer is our salvation, or that union is our salvation. It's not. You are your savior, and union is here to enhance the divine energies within you that you've already discovered and are wielding because you've come into union with self. The unions are here to facilitate the magnification of divine energy on the planet so that we can actually birth this golden age. That's what it's, Anyway, speaking of which, we got Mary Magdalene at the bottom. So, teacher awakens. You have something important to share. Follow the inner call and don't let anything stop you. So some of you are also, you're also being encouraged to stop living your life on the sidelines. It's time to get out there and to show the world who you truly are. And for some of you, that might even be part of how you break through that energy. That I'm reminded again of that Aries energy, a fiery climax approaches. There's something about also possibly some of you speaking out on something, okay? That's going to help to shift the energy forward, or it's going to help you birth this new reality more smoothly. It's going to help you to ride these birthing energies with a higher level of fortitude. I don't know why that word's coming up, but fortitude. Okay, so we have here the Holy Spirit and Diana. Expect miracles. Remember that only love is real. Miracles will occur naturally. Spirit has your back. So the energy of miracles can be tapped in when we align with faith, hope, and love. Then we can begin to live miraculously. And that's because we're living and operating in truth. We're no longer living in places of self-deception, and where truth dwells, the Holy Spirit can come and be with us. And we can connect with faith, hope, and love that give us access to the miraculous, okay? And Diana, focused intention. Think about what you desire. Set your sights high and expect the best possible outcome. So there's no more playing small here. There's no more falling into energies of doubt. It's time to be courageous. It's time to go after. Diana has hunter energies. It's time for you. Her name means hunter. It's time for you to go after what it is that you know you deserve. It's time for you to bring justice to yourself and who you truly are divinely. It's time for you not to shirk back. It's time for you not to settle for less, especially based upon like doubt or believing or lack of worthiness or inability to receive or old lack mindsets or old stories that others have projected onto you, old narratives that have made you feel like you're not worthy of certain things or like you're too much or whatever it is that those stories that you've been told to trick you out and to manipulate and gaslight you out of your power. It's time to relinquish all of that and to rise up into the glorious being that you are and align with energies that match that glory. Okay, so that's what I have for you. I hope that this reading was helpful. I hope it was insightful. I hope it was inspiring. I hope that it helps you make sense of your own creator abilities and some of the things that are going on around you, because I know for me, when I started to tune into the truth of that, it was a game changer. So I hope that this information changes your life and changes the trajectory of your path for the better. Okay, so if you would like to work with me, you can always find my information below. So-La-Rah with an h.info is my website. That's where my menu is for all of the information you want to know about my services. And then you can either contact me through the site or send me a separate email. I only take bookings when you come to me via email, and we can discuss what it is that you would like. I want to also remind you that my mentorship, my 60-minute and 90-minute mentorship sessions are currently on special. I'm offering a summer rate up until September the 1st. I do have a few slots available still for the last week of August, after which it goes back to its original rate. So if you would like to, make use of that discount, I would go ahead and do it now. But other than that, oh yes, another thing is I have limited space for those of you who want full rebirth tarot astrology reports. I'm only taking a few more on up until the end of the year. So if that's something that you really want passionately and you've been thinking about it and you've been on the fence about it, it might be time for you to consider moving forward with it if you want to and if you're able to, of course, because I will only be taking on, I think, maybe 4 more up until I open that up again in January or February of 2024. So I'm sending you guys so much love, joy, peace, stability, clarity, focus, and the grounding you need to connect with your own authority and sovereignty, really, as a creator. Yes, yes, yes. I wish you guys all the best. Until next time, be well.